Welcome back to Rumi Gold, where quiet mastery begins. What if clarity was louder than strategy? What if you never needed more to feel full? What if wealth was already yours, but you forgot how to hold it? And what if the game was never growth, but gravity? Why do we chase approval, success, or numbers, when none of them have ever filled the silence? Today we explore effortless wealth, not as a tactic, but as a truth. Where in your life have you been chasing what doesn't belong? Where have you traded the comfort of your own pace for the pressure of someone else's timeline? How many mornings have you started scrolling, searching, seeking, before listening to what's moving within you? The emotional cost is everywhere. Tired eyes, restless nights, the nervous sense that somehow you're always catching up. Sometimes, the more you hustle, the further abundance feels, like reaching for a door that moves with every step. The merchant in the old story learned this the slow way. Just like the coach who fills content calendars but dreads every call, or the entrepreneur adding feature after feature, still feeling empty when the sales roll in. I've seen creators pouring out videos, chasing views, only to feel invisible, until one day they pause, they wake up, breathe, make one thing because it feels true, not because it's time to post. People notice, clients come back. What shifted isn't skill, it's state. Abundance wants to meet you where you truly are, not where you pretend to be. There's nothing to prove. Let that breathe. You already feel it. There's something here. Stay with it. You're not weak for slowing down. That's the discipline. When you sit before your craft, before your work, before the day itself, and let the field come to you. Effortless wealth is just alignment, meeting the right opportunity, over and over. Wealth doesn't come from chasing. It comes from resting so deeply in your own frequency that money and everything else starts chasing you. Let that land. Don't rush on. Notice the space. This isn't about motivation. It doesn't have to be dramatic to be true. We're building from a new center. You already know this. The question is, will you sit in it long enough to let it change you? There's a story we've been repeating quietly, day after day. The story that money only comes if we run fast enough, work late enough, never stop chasing. Like a clock that never lets us rest. Like a phone that never stops buzzing on the nightstand, whispering, you should be doing more, do more, or you'll be left behind. You already know this rhythm. Meetings stacking on top of each other, emails answered between bites, selling your time to everyone who asks, just to fill the hours, to fill some invisible bucket, telling yourself it's progress, when mostly it's noise. But if we pause, just for a breath, we start to notice. The pattern isn't productive. It's old and it's tired. Chasing money with the mind of desperation is like reaching out to catch a butterfly with clenched fists. Every time we lunge, it drifts a little further. The tighter the grip, the emptier the hand. Let that echo. There's nothing wrong with effort, but when every move, every deal, every project comes from a place of lack, from fear that nothing will fill us unless we force it, we become architects of our own scarcity. We pile stones, but forget to build a door. We become martial artists who only strike, never receive, fighters without breath. This isn't about being right. It's about seeing how much of our relationship to money has been about proving, convincing, grasping. How much has come from anxiety, not alignment? Are you filling your calendar, or are you building your foundation? Is your laptop always open, or do you ever sit in the quiet, let the inflow come. Let that land. Awareness is the first step. If the vessel is already spilling over with frenzy, nothing new can pour in. Stillness isn't laziness, it's about clearing space. The discipline is learning to stand open, not hunched. You already know this. Money, like breath, moves when the vessel invites it. When you stop chasing, start receiving. That's the discipline. Most people spend years tinkering with their habits, searching for the right script, waiting for evidence before they claim abundance. But here's the shift that never gets named. What if the foundation was never what you do, but who you quietly decide you are? Ask yourself what happens when you walk into a room believing people are lucky to have your wisdom, versus hoping they see your value. What would shift in your day if you didn't study abundance, but wore it? A tree isn't trying to grow roots. It doesn't hustle into being a tree. It doesn't ask how to become enough. It simply does what it already is. You don't see an oak compare its leaves or hustle for sunlight. It just stands. There's no noise, only growth. Two men build the same business, post the same words. One wakes up every morning, aiming to escape survival. The other quietly knows, I'm the one money trusts. Money is safe here. I carry a frequency that invites value. The world hears both, but only one is silently magnetizing the next level. It isn't effort that separates them. It's identity. Let that land. You already know this. Energy is louder than words. The world can feel what you believe about yourself before you open your mouth. Neville Goddard called it assuming the wish fulfilled, not pretending, remembering it's already here. The Buddha said, with our thoughts, we make the world. Thoughts are the roots. Identity is the trunk. Actions are just branches moving in the wind. So before you write the next email or step into a meeting, pause, spend 5 minutes. See yourself as the person who holds wealth, not someone chasing it. Breathe into that picture. Feel that steady current in your chest. Let your hands rest on the table like you belong. The mind will resist. It wants effort, not arrival. That's the discipline. This isn't about motivation. This is organic self-recognition. You don't force it, you let it grow, like a tree, like breath, like the sun coming through a window, not striving, just shining. The identity comes first. Everything else follows. So, let's break it apart. Boundaries aren't punishment. They're not about coldness or keeping life at arm's length. Boundaries are the lines we draw, softly but surely, so our best energy isn't wasted. It stays close to us. It builds. It compounds. What if receiving is the part we've all skipped? What if quiet, just quiet, moves money faster than picking up the phone, sending another email, running one more lap around your to-do list? And what if ritual, more than productivity, frames the way wealth enters a life, not with noise, but with order? Most people pile on hours like bricks, thinking that's how you build something that lasts. But the truth, it's more like a garden. The soil can't carry crops all year. If you keep pressing, planting, turning the earth, the ground gives less. The field loses breath. There are cycles for a reason. Even the earth rests. Let that land. You already know this. Think about the way your own mornings move. You roll out of bed, phone into your hand, before your feet ever touch the ground. The news, the threads, the tension already in you before you take your first real breath. The motion is relentless. There's always one more thing chasing you. But what if, before you moved, you paused? 5 minutes, stillness, lighting a candle, letting the world wake up outside before you call on your own energy over and over again. That's not just silence. That's making room in the vessel so something real can pour in. Most of us confuse constant action with devotion, but a vessel that's always full can't receive more. Money isn't just earned, it's gathered like light, and light needs space. When you carve out the ritual, when you make the pause, wealth finds a gap and fills it. It doesn't have to be some big spiritual act. The smallest things, blessing the workspace, straightening your desk, a deep inhale, and a slow, honest exhale before you open the laptop. These aren't soft, they're structural. They give you somewhere to stand. That's the discipline. It doesn't have to be dramatic to be true. Imagine the artist who never stops painting. Eventual burnout, colors dry up, but the painter who steps away, rinses the brushes, puts hands in the sink, breathes before returning to the empty canvas. The work is richer. Inspiration finds him not because he chased it, but because he made space for it to land. Wealth is the same. People think you win by pushing. The real game is being available for arrival, like soil waiting for the rain, like hands that have stopped gripping, open, quiet, steady. That's when flow begins again. Maybe this is what clarity sounds like. A man can spend half his life gathering things, chasing better, chasing more, only to find there's no fullness when the vessel is cracked. So today, trace what you've heard. Inside your own day, identity, boundary, ritual. 3 words, not strategies, but structures that hold quiet strength. You don't chase wealth, you grow into it. You already know this when you walk into any room holding worth before anyone else names it. That's identity. When you say no to what scatters you and yes to what stabilizes you, that's boundary. And when you wake, return your mind to breath, open your hands to serve, sip your coffee in silence, letting the morning build you before you build anything else. That's ritual, not dramatic, but deeply true. Let that land. There are still 2 shifts to come. They're waiting, and when you hear them, they'll drop in clean like water finding stone. But for now, test just 1 shift today. Pick up your own worth, or set a calm line, or light a morning fire, slow and simple. That's the discipline. Right now, listen to these. I hold my center before I hold my wealth. I hold my center before I hold my wealth. I keep out the noise so that energy can flow. I keep out the noise so that energy can flow. My mornings belong to me before the world. My mornings belong to me before the world. Clarity makes space for prosperity. Clarity makes space for prosperity. I lead from clarity. I lead from clarity. I lead from clarity.